Hello, hello, everyone. We will be getting started here momentarily. As you come on in, please go ahead and drop a comment in the chat section. Let us know that you're here. Tell us where you're dialing in from, city and state. And we will be going live here in just a few minutes. Hello, hello, everyone. Happy hour is starting right now. We are so glad to be able to be here with you. So glad for you to be able to join us. We are so super excited about some nuggets that we are going to be dropping on you tonight. You are in for a treat. I am Lashino Recruitalina, your six-figure career brand coach, and I help career professionals and entrepreneurs to be able to own their oomph, rock their oomph, so they can stay recruitable, visible, and profitable. Again, we're so glad to be able to have you here tonight. And if you haven't seen the comments, make sure that a little few housekeeping notes that Yardstream does require that you give them permission to share your name. So, all those privacy settings. So if you are making comments, which we really want you to make some comments, let us know what's resonating with you. Let us know if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. But in order for me to be able to put them on the broadcast, you'll need to be able to give Yardstream permission to show your name. So just go to that link that's in the comments, and then you'll be able to do that. But really looking forward to the conversation and the guests that we have tonight. Oh my goodness. Michael White. And as some of you have seen, he has been coined as the word Caesar. I cannot wait for us to dig into the word Caesar and some of the meaning behind that. The session that we had talked about for tonight is being able to help you to be able to focus, help you to be able to be more productive. So we're going to dive a little bit into that. But before we do, let me bring on the man of the hour, Michael. Michael.
Greetings, Lucina. Hey, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Oh my gosh. I am so grateful that I finally tracked you down and that, I was able to, get you on the horn, because I know you're a busy man. So I appreciate you being able to take some time. And I see that you are drinking. You have your glass ready. So please do share. What do you have sipping on tonight?
So I was gonna do a bottle of wine, a bottle of Zinfandel, the Biker by Four Vines, a delicious oaky peppery red Zinfandel. But I was like, you know what? I think I want a margarita. So I got my Luna Azul tequila, lime, simple syrup. I muddled some jalapeno and fresh ginger and kind of let it sit in the tequila for about an hour and a half. Anyway, whatever. So I've got a jalapeno margarita topped with ginger beer.
That sounds amazing.
It's only appropriate, You're a dynamic person, a dynamic woman, and this drink is for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am so grateful to have you in the presence, in the building, in the room, in this virtual room. So I am going to have you give us a little bit of insight about just a little bit about who is Michael? Who are you? I mean, I have so many different phrases that can define Michael, but I want you to be able to share with the audience a little bit about who you are. So please take it away.
Okay. Well, I am just a guy who has been on a journey for a very long time. Um, a journey of synthesizing aspects of my life, like work and home. It's there are so many things with the system that we live and work in that I don't always vibe with. And so instead of complaining about it, I said, I got to find a solution, something that works for me. I might have to create that sometimes. And so that's is that my mic? Um, that's kind of where the word Caesar came from years ago. It was saying, you know what, I'm gonna use my words to kind of create my life in a sense, you know. But what I do is help people achieve balance in their lives. There are many ways that we come out of alignment, out of balance, because we are subject to so many different energies and so many different things, so many different stimuli. And
Mhm.
each of these things carries with it an energy. And in my experience, it kind of clogs up a little bit. Um, and many of the frustrations that I've had and the people that I've talked to have stemmed from things that have been completely out of our control. And it's sometimes very difficult to do what the old adages say, or what even our spiritual teachers will say, which is like let go of things that we can't control. And and like anything, it's a process. It's always easier said than done. So the process is, how do I strengthen myself so that I am able to make sure that I am mindfully doing all the things that I'm supposed to do, and that I am mindful of how I am allowing other things affect me, and how I allow them to, manifest through me, through my behavior and my words.
Wow, that is so powerful.
Wow.
There's just so many, great nuggets in there. And I didn't quite hear singer in there. Did I miss that, Michael? Like what? I
Well,
need
I do a little. I mean, I used to sing basically for a living, but I got out of it for a long time, because I didn't like the way I was using my voice then. I was young, and I liked the applause, and that's really the only reason that I did it. But when I had kids, and I was like, I just don't even like kind of doing it in that way anymore. But it's a realm that I'm stepping back into. Um, but yeah, so maybe before this is all over, you might get a tune out of me.
All right, all right. I like to hear that. Well, it sounds as if you've gone on many, many different journeys. And that's what I really appreciate about having this platform of Career Happy Hour is to be able to share with the world that a person's career is not linear, that it is multifaceted. And just because you start on the journey at one place does not mean that your journey will not take twists and turns. And that doesn't mean that you're a failure or that you're not being successful. It's just that that's your journey, and that journey is teaching you something along the way. So one of the questions that I usually like to ask my co-hosts is, what is it that where did you start your journey? Where did that begin? And is it where you thought you wanted it to begin?
No, it began out of the blue. You said something very, very poignant. You said, for many of us, careers are not linear. It's not just a plan, and a like a really step by step, already kind of predetermined thing. For some it is, but not for everyone. And for those who it is not, it's a little bit more difficult, because we have to be a little bit more creative and find the way and be tough enough to deal with, pulling, getting out of situations that we do know are not feeding us in the way that we want to be fed, or taking us in the direction that we want to take, and being able to say no to some opportunities, no matter how inviting they may be. Um, when we are looking to create the career, the lifestyle that we truly want. Mine began very suddenly. I my children became teenagers. They entered the 11th grade, and they went and started living with their mom when they had lived with me their whole life. And so suddenly, I was in a position where all the things that I was doing, I didn't have to do the same. I didn't have to have the same space. I didn't have to pay the same rent. You know what I mean? Everything just was completely different. And I'd had kids as a teenager. So I went right to work. I left school and went to work. Um, so for a long time, all I really was doing was surviving, just kind of making enough. But after many, many years of work, I realized that I did not have anything to show for it. But it had still been a good life. But that is when my journey began, really, because it was like, what do I do now? Because I don't want to do what I was doing forever. I had been in sales, I had been in bartending, I had been in being a software analyst at Sage, where I met Lashina. I mean, I had done so many things over the years, but I had never really gotten in mind going into a career. And that is something that can be difficult later in life, because of the many mindsets that have been created within us over the years, the experiences that we've had of difficulty and of the things that will create security and stability. So sometimes starting something brand new from scratch at that stage, it can be a hurdle, but it is definitely not overcomable, not undoable. It is something that just requires has required for me and many others that I know, the cultivation and exercise of an inner strength and will, and a big part of that is balance, is focus, making sure that, I want to create my career, but how's my home life? How's my spiritual life? How's my social life? How are all of these things in the context of this? And for me, it is very important that that I have a balance in my life, because it has been too easy for me for things and people, relationships to fall by the wayside, but I don't really want that. I want the career, and I want the 6-figure promise that Lashina has given me. I want all of that. But I want a life that is calm. I have inner peace, inner calm, fulfillment.
Yeah.
That is important to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really appreciate your transparency in sharing some of your journey and some of the jobs that you've had, because I think, a lot of times people are just so judgmental. I find that they're just so judgmental. And you'll see someone, maybe they're bartending, or you may see someone who's doing customer service, and this audio is working it here. Okay, let me see.
It's all right.
It's all right. We're gonna push through it.
Power through. That's right.
We're gonna power through it. And you see, people will see the face value of the moment in time that they're in. But that's one of the things that I could just see and feel your energy when we had when we first met. I could feel your energy, and I have that gift, and I think of it as a gift now. I didn't always think of it as a gift, that I'm able to see past people's layers. And I knew that even though you were in the job that you were in, that there were just so many layers to your onion that was just intriguing to me. Like, I just have this natural curiosity. So whenever I go anywhere, one of the things, I try not to be too nosy when I talk to people, but I want to know, what is it that you do? Because a lot of times their personality and what they do, usually there's an alignment, there's a connection, but sometimes there's not, because they're not in their their purpose. They're not living their purpose. They may just be living for the moment. And so when I see that misalignment, then it's like, my ears perk up and it's like, what can I do to help you get in alignment? And that's what I felt with you, because there was just so much that I could see beyond what you were doing, that you weren't necessarily living in your purpose, but you had, we all have to do that. We all have to pay the bills. We all have to do things that is just a moment in time, and it sets us up for the next thing. So that's where we talk about the focus and the productivity. And I appreciate everyone going on this journey with us. Like your career, this show is a journey. Like we have to peel back these layers. And where I really was, that I really just, I don't know, I feel like there was just this light around you. I know that it was outside, so that might have helped. And it was sunshiny and it was like really nice.
Still looking out.
Yes. But there was this ray around you as you led us into this impromptu meditation. And I was never in a million years was I expecting how powerful just taking that few moments, like it wasn't even that long, that we were just able to just come together, and you guided us through that meditation. So tell us a little bit about, because you didn't mention, I don't remember you mentioning that when you were talking about what you do. So share with us a little bit about that journey. What is it, how did you even get to that point of doing guided meditation?
There are so many legs to this journey. Things that I do all the time. It almost feels like I don't even exist in time and space like other people. Because I do lots of things: cooking, meditating, walking, visiting. But meditation for me has been one of the most important parts of the journey, because as I said, man, there's so many stimuli out there, so many things have been coming at me from every direction, through every conceivable type of screen, from other people, from interactions, from work, from the club, from the grocery, just so many things. And it just kind of created in me, I think, like a chatter, just a constant monologue, just riffing through my head constantly, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But meditation kind of helped me to step back and look at that, as opposed to just letting it keep happening to me while I am still feeling myself, watching Netflix, looking at the news, going to more parties. Like, there's so many ways that I am letting things in that are just creating all of this chatter for me. Meditation was a way to kind of step back and, yes, again, look at all of the things that are in my mind. Start to see the themes, compartmentalize it a little bit. And I realized that it really wasn't saying that much as it seemed. I just wasn't giving it space to talk itself out. And that's what happens in the meditation. But I got into guided meditation because I loved what meditation did for my life, for my sense of peace and my inner peace and inner calm. My ability to see so many things that are beyond my control, that I can just let happen, let go, because again, I don't have any control over them. And the way that I was allowing the energy to kind of build up in me, and I carried it around, it wasn't conducive to the life that I wanted to create. And I realized how many times my interpretation of a situation would be the thing that lived on, with me for a long time, not the situation itself, because the situation was over. So I started to talk to my friends about it. I said, you want to meditate with me? And they were like, dude, you are like way different. So yes, I would like to meditate. If that's what you're doing, let's do this thing. And so just, I loved it. And my friends who got into it with me loved it too. And encouraged me to go on and share that with other people. I really hadn't gotten, I had really been doing it on a much more personal level over the years. But it is time to move that into the next realm.
Wow. I agree with so many of the things that you've just said here, but I'm gonna call out the elephant in the room, as they say, because my audience is driven, ambitious, high frequency business professionals and entrepreneurs. And I know they're sitting here thinking, oh, no, no, no. My brain goes 100 miles an hour. I cannot even think about sitting down and meditating because I can't do it. And I say that because I am that person. And it wasn't until last year that I truly took meditation seriously. And I read this book that really made meditation simple. Like, because I thought, you had to be in a certain position, you had to be in a certain, place, but to really take back those layers to make it a lot more simple. And once I did that, the power behind meditating took me to a new level. And I have some testimonies that happened in 2020 because of, and I know it's because of meditation. So what would you say to those ambitious, driven, high frequency professionals who are saying there's no way that I can slow my mind down?
Well, I would say, first of all, of course, the mind is moving 1,000 miles an hour. It is literally the most brilliant computer that exists. It just is. And all of our brains do not function in the same way. There's nature and nurture. There are combinations of situations that create the way that brains work, the way that the neurons fire, the way that neural pathways are formed, the kind of connections that are made between, situations, but that is its job, you know. And I would say, give me 30 days. If anyone who thinks that their brain moves so fast that they could never settle it, I would say give me 30 days to change that mind. And because it's really about, again, stepping back. That's what meditation helped me to do, but now it helped me to kind of talk about it in a way, stepping back and looking at things in a real way. For me, if I have time to watch one show on Netflix, even the shortest show, that's 15 minutes, that is time that I commit to that. If I could commit that to that, what could I do with 15 minutes if I didn't put that in that space? you know what could I be doing? And if I watch an hour or 2 hours a day, what could I be doing to fill that space if I no longer had that in that space? And it's not about, sometimes for me, it has been as much about knowing what not to do as knowing what to do. Sometimes I don't exactly know what to do. I have not always known what to do. But by sitting back and giving space for that to be filled through meditation has helped me to see that way a little bit more clearly. Whereas, there's nothing wrong with not watching Netflix. There's nothing wrong with, doing whatever it is that I do. But I do have to take responsibility for what I am doing with my time and what I am feeding myself with all of my time. And again, balance. It's not about not watching Netflix, because I do watch Netflix, but it is about taking some of the time and energy and focus from some of the things that I was doing and repurposing it into something else that was more conducive to the life that I really want to create. Because for me, what I really want isn't what I say, because the mouth can say anything. The truth is not what I say, but what plays out over time. If I want to grow my business, if I'm watching, if I am spending 1,000 hours a month on social media and 1,000 hours a month watching Netflix and not reading, not meditating, not maybe using that time even to cook, to change my diet. You know what I mean? There are so many things that I was able to do with my time once I really was honest with myself about how I was using it, how I was using my energy.
And what?
So, but those who are driven and ambitious won't generally have those kind of problems. But to them, I say there's a yin and yang. There is the planting of the seed and the tilling of the soil and the watering, but there's also the hands-off process, the part that I myself cannot do. I cannot bud the seed. I cannot break the ground. I cannot flower. I cannot do those things for the seed. There are things that I can do. And then there are things that if I allow nature to do its thing, God, the universe, the cosmos, whatever anyone believes, there are things that God can do that I myself cannot do. And if I allow space for that, that's kind of what meditation will do. It just kind of clears some space for, for something that is a little bit different. The difference between making and creation. You make a cake, but you create a life. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Man, there's so many nuggets there. We have a comment from the audience. Time is so precious, which is so true. And one of the things that really resonated with what you were saying is be intentional. We have to be intentional, and if we have goals, which we all do, anyone who's on my platform, I know they have goals. If not, they need to definitely be talking to me. So in order to be goal oriented, it is about being intentional about your time. And like, most people know, it takes at least 21 days to form a habit. So just because something doesn't come natural to you doesn't mean that you should throw your hands up and not do it. It's just that you have to be consistent with it. And that's what a lot of our, business professionals and entrepreneurs, it's a learned behavior to be consistent. We may start it and it may, fizzle off, but being consistent with that. And the other thing that I'll say to what you've mentioned is sometimes you just need to step back in order to get the answers, because we all have the answers in us.
Yes.
I mean, we just, it's just like sometimes we're just searching for this answer and it's in us, but we've not let ourselves slow down enough to hear it.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay, I'm gonna get real personal right now, because sometimes this show will give you TMI. So if you're not ready, then you're just not ready. But I will be busy on the computer, working in and out of meetings, in calls, just grinding it. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom. I really got to take a minute to go to the bathroom. So I actually have to force myself to go to the bathroom. And this was a little bit worse when we were in the office, versus me being in a home office where the bathroom is just right around the corner. But what happens is that when I take a break to go to the bathroom, can I tell you that I think of some of the craziest things that I meant to do that I totally forgot about? But it's just because my body and my brain took a break just to go to the bathroom that I was able to think about that. And I think about that as, I call it a think tank.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think of the bathroom as my think tank. The car is my think tank.
That's a little mini meditation right there.
Yes, the bathroom is a mini meditation. But the other part is the car for me. The car is my think tank. So when I'm in the car, it's just all of these thoughts just start flooding in my brain. So what I learned to do is to have pen and paper or have some way to capture those notes.
Always.
What's your think tank? What would you say is yours?
My life is my think tank. I'm thinking all the time. And so I always do, like you have pen and paper, because I like to be able to take a moment to jot whatever down, because it is important. When I was at Sage, I would put people on hold. I would say, hey, bro, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna be back in like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And they'd be like, all right. Because they understood, like, I'm just like a person. I'm a person, and I'm helping. I'm doing my thing. So they never took offense. you know, because that is a part of balance too. The body, and that's this is a part of what I talk about. The body has its needs too, and its long term function is dependent upon our daily, moment to moment habits. There's so many things, but because I've been there. Like now, I will get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night if I have to go. Whereas when I was young and I had a young bladder, I didn't. But now I understand that if I keep doing that, it's going to cause me long term problems. Um, but I love to meditate. But the hard part about about meditation being my think tank is that it is, I don't want to create those thoughts. I don't want to break up what I'm doing, what I know, in order to write, because I always have brilliant thoughts in meditation, and a part of my discipline is to make sure I don't break that to just go off and write it, because if it comes out, for me, it's in there. Everything that comes out is already in there. You know what I mean? So it'll come back. But I used to like the car as a think tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went all everywhere with that.
No, I mean, those are very great and valid points that you talked about, because it's about being able to capture the moment. And sometimes those moments come when we least expect it. And so we really have to, recognize it sometimes. And, we talk about focus and balance, when we talk about meditation. So while I get this out of my eye, I'm gonna let you talk about that. About how does meditation work to help keep you focused?
So what you said was incredibly true. That we have the answers. This is what I believe, based on myself and the experience of the other people that I have talked to, that I've worked with. That we all do have the answers within ourselves. And so, many times, what I realized is I was, as Lashina said, I was looking for like an answer, the answer, but we are all very, very different. And so, our gifts, our strengths, our not so strengths, um, all of these things will vary from person to person. So there's no one size fit all. Many things are just a guide, a recipe, if you will, to help me find my way to what is best for me. Now, if I take a recipe and do it exactly as it is written, that recipe was made to the specific taste of the person who wrote the recipe. But my taste may not be the same as them, or maybe I may have an allergy. So I have to take that and make it a little bit. I have to adjust it for my own self. So the balance and focus is created by looking within, because my balance is not someone else's balance, nor someone else's balance my balance. Someone with, the number of hours of sleep, the numbers of calories to consume, the amount of water, all of these can be generalized, but they vary from person to person. The two people, one with a sedentary lifestyle and one with a very active lifestyle, if they consume the same amount of calories and the same amount of water, it won't create the same results, because they are burning all of that at a completely different rate. So all that to say is, finding balance and self-focus is about going within and seeing what it is that I want to create, what kind of life I want to have, and what kind of things I'm going to have to do, to be intentional about, to focus on, in order to create that for myself, because it's not going to be created for me. I have to do my part. I have to yang, but I also have to allow. I have to yin.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so powerful. And I think, the one of the things that really stands out in that is what you give attention to, what you focus on is what you attract. And a lot of times with meditation, I have it happen. You're trying to clear your mind, but thoughts come flooding in. But that's not a bad thing. It's just being able to master it. And with practice, you're able to do that. And then you're able to glean such clarity, such focus, and you're actually putting frequencies out in the universe as you're doing that, that then comes back, and you begin to attract those things, those thoughts that you have actually been thinking about. It is powerful, beyond powerful.
Yes.
Do you
Yes, I agree.
have you had that happen?
Yes. In the beginning, I thought I was failing because I could not stop the
Mhm.
brain chatter. I couldn't. But over time, as I learned to sit with it, I learned that it was just something that was happening. And I didn't have to control it. Um, by allowing it to by just sitting with it and letting it talk, there was so much that I was able to glean, as you say, to hear. um Meditation is different for every person. There are a lot of commonalities between us, but there are also unique things. And at the end of the day, I have read many things. I've read many books, and I've explored many faith disciplines. And what I've come to realize is that if I do things exactly like someone else, then I'm basically walking on that person's path. Or if I'm not clear what their goal is, like maybe I am reading the text of someone whose goal is to enter nirvana. That's not my goal. That's not my goal at all. I live here on the earth. I got regular day to day shit that I got to deal with. I'm not trying to go to nirvana. I got to raise these kids, and I got to, like, you know what I'm saying? So if I'm doing what they are saying and they're trying to go to nirvana, then I might find myself going to nirvana when I really never wanted to go there. So I have to know where I'm going. And that's, again, that's kind of where I come in with a lot of people. And we kind of define where it is that we're going, and then craft that meditation style for you, for me, for oneself, because it is all about where we are going.
Mhm. What about you talk about the need for control? What what is that, for our driven, ambitious professionals and entrepreneurs? How does that play into things?
Well, um, as a human, we have the unique ability to have whatever we want. Uh, we can push and push and make and create. We can do all of those things, but the need for control, the way that I view it, for me, is having a desired goal and being like, that's it. Like, I'm not going to be able to accept anything else other than me meeting that goal. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's our right. We were given will for that very reason, so that we could choose that if we want. But um, sometimes we can be led in different ways, in a different direction. Sometimes no doesn't mean we're not good enough. It doesn't mean we're not worthy. It doesn't mean that we don't have the skills, but it means that's not necessarily the door that is going to take us to what I think ultimately what we all want is some kind of sense of happiness, of fulfillment. But I realized that I was blocking my way to fulfillment because I just kept trying to make sure I got what I wanted, thought that I wanted. Um, and all of this is, it's not always easy to conceptualize, like, in the moment, but sometimes allowing no to take me in a different direction, instead of making me work harder toward the same direction. But that, again, is my thing, my personal thing, my own personal understanding of where I'm going and what it's going to take to get there, and it is unique to each person. But um control also comes in much more subtle ways, like thinking that people should talk to me the way that I want to be talked to. Someone talks to me rude and I say they shouldn't talk to me like that. That is me trying to control what someone else is doing. And I have no control over that. I have control over this one thing, Michael White. Outside of that, I really don't have control. And so when I see control, it is that. It is me saying someone else should or should not be doing X, Y, and Z. But that's just my own projection. And it is another thing that for me has clogged up a lot. And my ability to let things be has really uncongested the energy flow and helped me to see things, in conjunction with the meditation, the diet, has, given me the opportunity to see things from a different perspective, with a longer lens, instead of just how do I feel right now. If I go into when I go into an interview, they're like, this is the box. Can you fit in this box? And I'm like, yes. And after a while, like 6 months, I'm like, I do not fit in this box. I don't like this at all. But I told them that I would fit in the box when they asked me. But by being myself, by saying I just want to be able to be myself, then I never have to go into a box. They say, hey, this is the box. And I say, I don't fit in that box. Let me tell you about me. And then sometimes they're like, no, we don't want you. That, for me, that is okay, because I don't want to have to fit in the box or wear the costume or play the role. I just want to be able to be who I am, how I am, grow the role how I see. And that's not always easy, because there's a lot of no's with that. I know the kind of world that I live in, and it's not always that malleable. But
Mm.
I have created a certain path by taking myself everywhere I go and never saying I can fit in the box, if knowing ahead of time that I just won't.
Mm. I hear the power of the no in what you've just said. And I think all of us have had those situations. I know I have personally, that I have been told no for something within my career that when I tell you it made me hot, I was livid. But God had something on the other side of that no that I couldn't see. He could see. He was preparing me for something that was on the other side. So sometimes we have to take those no's as a blessing in disguise. But sometimes we take it so personally that we can't get out of our own way. And that can sometimes be to our detriment, because it impacts our energy. It impacts um, our ability to do who we are, because we almost feel like that we're defeated.
Yes.
And when you start to feel defeated in your head, you start acting out of character, and you don't act and you don't move with the same swag that you were moving before.
Mm.
And see, you got to move with your swag in order to keep being able to get into those yeses. But sometimes we let those no's just keep us defeated, and we
Mm.
can't. We have to think, okay, that was a no, that door closed, but another one will open, and it will be a bigger and better open, or a bigger and better door that opens. And I feel like that's the path that you're on, Michael. I just, I can feel it. I know that, there's so much with your journey that is still coming. So what is it that is next in your journey? Do tell us a little bit about that.
What is next? Um, what is next is abundance and fulfillment. That, those may seem like vague concepts at times. But again, like many things, those are self-defined. These are not things that someone else can put a measure to, or a barometer, or set the barometer for, but myself. Um, honestly, my next what I would like to do is move to Costa Rica. I'm not gonna lie. I want attractive land, um, right on the water. I want to grow a little food, and I want to have space to bring people who are on similar journey as my own. It is not there are so many things with again with this with the American culture. I have no problem with America, with the culture that's here. It just doesn't necessarily vibe with me. I don't I don't want to do all of those things. I want to live in a completely different way, and I think that that is okay. um and not to say, not, again, that's a very unique thing. But I want to move somewhere where it's 75 degrees in the winter. I want to wake up looking at the ocean or the Gulf. I want to travel a lot. I want to help people unlock the potential that is within, because it is in here. And but many things that I have been doing over the years have kept me from that potential. It has taken my focus and put it in things and places that have not been conducive to the life that I want to live. It has kept me in cycles that just were numbing and stultifying and just stagnating. Not that it's been bad, but it's all been a journey of, where do I really want to go? What do I really want to achieve? What kind of meaning am I looking for out of all of the things that I'm doing? What am I looking to leave behind me when I am all finished? And for me, that is something, again, that is very relationship based. I have I don't have a very large circle, but it's a big circle, and everyone that's in that circle, I love them, and that to me is as important as any amount of money. And um, so much of my own personal journey has been a struggle, because it seems I've been competing against a whole culture. It seems I've been competing against an entire mindset, but I find that that's not always the case. Um, Using my words to create, this comes into another leg of the program, which is affirmations and intentions. These things are me saying daily the things I intend to do, to accomplish, to be, how I intend to create these things. Because, like Lashina said, the no's sometimes can create something within that will take me away from the direction that I go. But if I take no in stride, if I take no as it may mean, it may not be, a blocked way, it may not be a closed door, it may be a redirection into something that is much better for me. Because everywhere that I've ended up has been beautiful. And if it wasn't for the no's, I would not have ended up there. So I see that in my own journey. Every time that there was a no, there was something that was imminent, something else that was coming. There was never not a next thing, you know. But sometimes I have to let go of what I'm holding on to in order to get to the next thing, because the next thing can't come until I'm done with the last thing. It can't really come and solidify.
Well, it sounds like it's time for a Costa Rica trip. Oh, I like that.
Don't tell
I,
anybody.
I like all of everything that I could just see the water and I could see the 70-degree weather on my
70
skin.
degrees, 70 degrees in the winter.
What?
That's what
Oh,
I
yeah.
need. That's what
Oh,
I
yeah.
want.
Trip to Costa Rica is definitely in the horizon. But you talked about affirmations, and that I cannot tell you just just some of the just the clarity that I've been able to realize with affirmations. And sometimes people might think, "Oh, what? what good does it do to speak an affirmation? Whoa, you are doing yourself a disservice if you do not have at least a few affirmations that you have tucked away that you can pull on, that you can lean on. And I grew up very religious. Like, so the Bible was, my mainstay, and my grandmother had us memorize Bible verses. And so to me, that was my affirmation for a long time, until then I was able to expand outside of. I still have my foundation of biblical verses, but there's also other affirmations that, depending on what I'm focusing on in my life and in my business and in my career, that it then lends itself to being able to give me that foundation, and that, I don't know. I talk about that umph. Like, we all should have our own umph. Like, an affirmation will really help you make sure you have that umph, and that you believe it, and you hold on to it tight. It is just, so affirmations are definitely, if you don't have affirmations, you
So,
definitely need
so what
to
an
have some.
affirmation does, if I may just real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Please,
it creates
please.
energy around the thing. Um, because again, some goals are very big and it's not always going to be easy. The way will not always be clear, but the affirmation creates energy. It creates something else that injects into that chatter. My mind chatter, again, a lot of times has been unconscious. It's just been, I've been taking a lot of things and chatter, 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 chatter. But my affirmations introduce another thing into that chatter that reinforces, that creates, again, energy around that thing. You know, I used to have a big anger problem, and so I had one affirmation that I would say all the time. I say, I am calm, and I am cool, and I am clear and confident in every situation, because people could rattle me so easily. Somebody just look at me wrong in the street, and I'm like, what the fuck is you looking at? That may be an extreme example, but that's kind of where I was. I had a lot of anger, but I decided I didn't want my anger, my fears or whatever to, and that happens. That happens in our careers too, in our life's work. Sometimes the voices, the inner chatter, or even sometimes the external chatter comes that can kind of knock us off the course that we really wanted to go. But knowing again where I want to go with my business, even with my career, do I really want to differentiate myself from every other thing by like the energy around around my business, around my situation, by the relationships that I make, by so many things that many times are overlooked in exchange for money. Nothing wrong with money, obviously. It's the thing that kind of makes things go around, but there are many times there's many times more to it than that, that can increase us in abundance in ways that we could not have conceived of. But by even saying something like every day, today is a great day. you know One day enough energy has been created around that. It happened for me, that just every day I wake up and I'm like, today is a great day, and I don't even say it anymore because it really is. I'm like, let's do this. Um, for uh, pardon me. So I'm sorry. That's what I got for that.
Us.
So well, but at the end, in the end,
Sorry about
these are
that.
the things.
I was
Balance, balance. It's all right. Balance again it includes self-care, and for all of us that's different. Sometimes it's unplugging, sometimes it's taking a hot bath, sometimes it's you know changing my eating habits, sometimes it's getting sun, like regularly. These little things help to center, help to balance again a lot of the energies that get created within us. And the clogging of those energies can can make the way forward in career creation and entrepreneurship a little hazy. They can, those old fears, those old doubts, but we can overcome those.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Very true. Well, Michael, believe it or not, we are at the end of our hour. Can you believe it? It's just it. I feel like we could keep talking forever because of just so many great nuggets that you're sharing with us and your personal experience and your transparency. And again, I appreciate that because I really want this to be real talk. That we're just taking off that persona that sometimes people put on us that, they look at you and think, oh, well, you have it all together. You know what you're doing. It's like, no, every day I have to like get it together so that I can make sure that I'm making the most of the day. We're at the end of the hour. So are you going to bless us with a few tunes of some sort? No pressure, no pressure at
But
all.
I forgot all
Just
about that.
doing
Yeah, yes, yes.
you did kind
Um,
of promise that like at the
I
beginning,
know.
but I mean, you put it out there. I just
Okay. All right, here we go. Walks by me every day. Her and love are the same. The woman has stolen my heart, and beauty is her name. I hope that I can make you mine, for another man steals your heart. And once your beauty is mine, I swear we will never be apart. All right, that's all I got.
awesome.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to be able to talk about all of the multifaceted layers to your onion, Michael. And what I appreciate so much is that again, it's not about just saying you're going to do one thing in life and that's it. And we got a few comments that it said, okay, now sang, he's singing up in here. He said, LaShawn says, I love that song. You better sing. Okay. I had to give you a little bit of, from the crowd here, from the audience.
Thank you.
They really enjoyed that. But the point behind this is you don't have to be just one dimensional. Just all of the different things that you've shared with us in this show and all of the different things that you've done that you're that is part of who you are. And that's and a lot of us are that way. So we don't have to think that we just have this one career, this one thing that we have to do. Sometimes it's about being curious and about let's see, let's try it.
That's
My
right.
new word is experiment. Let's experiment. Let's see
Yeah,
how it works.
that's right. And what did we say? Experiment and experience have the same root. You know, that's experience is how we learn. People can tell us anything, but it's everyone is this culture is a very specific way. It's nothing wrong with it. It works for a lot of people, but all of us are not so cookie cut, one dimensional, linear, like you said. All of us are not like that. Some of us are very complex, and we have many arms, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am not trying to get in. I'm not going to get in no box. I know you're not going to get in no box. And the people who end up your space and in my space, they will not be box people. Sometimes it will take some time and some intention to understand and accept that someone is not a box person because they feel it. We feel it long before we know it, long before we understand it. You know what I mean? It just unfolds like that. I feel it. I can't put words to it. Then I know it. So I'm saying it. I know what it is. But then I'm wise enough to put what I know into action. And then I understand it. Now I can stand on it. Now I can do my thing.
Yeah, that's so
I know we got
true. Wow. I know we gotta go. It's been so amazing to be able to talk with you, Michael. It's just, just so many great nuggets. And I feel like we need to do a repeat. I mean, we need to do take two. That's what I'm talking about. So that we can dig a little bit deeper into a lot of the things that, we just touched the surface on. So really hope that we'll be able to have you back as a guest co-host in the near future. Really appreciate everyone who was able to tune in to another episode of Career Happy Hour. If you have not invited another person to come and join careerhappyhour.com, what are you doing? Come on, really? We need your whole network to be here, getting these nuggets, being able to tap in to this network of individuals that we'll be bringing to you. And we have a lineup that it's amazing. So please make sure that you continue to share. I am Lashina Recruitalina, your six-figure career brand coach. I am here to help you with anything related to branding your career. You need to brand your bio. You need to get professional headshots done. You need to brand yourself in a resume, in an interview, and not only just a job interview, but a media interview. Or you're looking for visibility on platforms and magazine articles. Come on over. We need to talk because I am making sure that I'm helping as many who are in my fold to be able to own and rock their oomph so that you can stay recruitable, visible, and profitable. Thank you so much for tuning in and looking forward to you dropping in for the next episode. Take care and have a great night.